This is Lorebound, and we're in a bit of a pickle. You see, Lorebound can only interact and do things if the game mentions it through dialogue, books, or in-game text, which means our best equipment right now looks something like this. And when you're trying to kill the Blood Moon, well, let's just say that we're a little underprepared. We tried Barrows, but we're not able to unlock any of the melee Barrows brothers to kill, since none of them are actually mentioned anywhere, and the other armor that we could technically unlock isn't going to help us much here. Enter the Deranged Archaeologist. After a bit of back and forth in the comments, we ultimately decided unlocking Fossil Island and the fight with the Deranged Archaeologist would be ideal, as the Steel Ring is apparently quite a defensive titan and has a moderate drop rate of 1 in 43.67 according to Marley Salt here. Why am I quoting comments and not using the wiki? Because I am barred from wikis or guides, which means, frankly, we're already dry on this. But I will be darned if a poor drop rate stops this train. I will not be beaten by some lousy deranged archaeologist. His ring will be mine. I've got the funds, I've got the runes, and I've got a fully charged Ivan staff, and I will sit here all day, so help me, if it means getting that ring. Sweet mother of all that is holy. How am I 117 kills in with no ring drop? I've got unidentified rare fossils, but no ring. As voted on the previous episode, locked items can be alked, so that helps a little in getting us another round of Ivan blasts, but considering the amount of time that I had to spend editing last video, specifically that one sequence with the deranged archaeologist, I spent a lot of time just gathering a few bone shards from both AFK agility and the fossilized mining, so I'm just gonna quickly bump up our prayer level to give us a little more longevity in the swamplands. 49 feels pretty good. Still needing a little bit of a break from the 2.5 hour long session I had prayer flicking. Yes, I prayer flicked the boss. We clean up a couple missing bone drops for the Regan Bone Man quest, finish that off so that we can get some more passive bones from a larger pool of enemies and unlock a whole slew of new enemies in the process. There is that vulture from before. I know that's a desert task, which is great. Speaking of 2.5 hours, after another 2.5 hours on the agility pyramid, we got the cash, we recharge our Iban staff, again, buy some runes in Camdozel, which are apparently, for some reason, significantly less than the Zamorak Wildy guy, and we're getting back to these kills. I'm out of charges, I'm out of runes. I'm gonna bash this brat's head off with my staff just to finish this kill. I am now 228 kills dry. If my math is correct, and I think it is, that is over 5 times the drop rate. I wanted a cool video where I could be like, heck yeah, here's the ring we all wanted, let's kill the Blood Moon, okay, let's finish off with the quest, but nope, not today, bucko. I mean, sure, it wasn't wasted. I have 64 magic now, which is considerably higher than it was before, but I kid you not when I say I have been fighting this boss, not farming for gold, exclude all the walking around buying stuff, but actively prayer flicking this hoe for 7 hours. You know what? No, break time, pull time. Okay, what do we got today? Oh, okay, holy heck, we finally get to tackle the Heroes quest. Achietes guards the gate to the Heroes Guild. We passed the basic qualifications, thank you stats, but we still need to prove ourselves worthy of entrance. We need to gather an Entranan Firebird feather, a Master Thief's armband, and a cooked lava eel. We apparently have the connections we need for the Thieves' armband already. Asking about the feather, she tells us really nothing, it's on Entrana, and the eel? Talk to someone who fishes. Okay, thank you, very helpful. Now the Entrana feather would be easy enough. Take the ice gloves, kill the bird, pick up the feather. Except the Ice Queen and the Ice Gloves have not been mentioned yet. The Queen, pre-creation of Lorebound, I knew was actually impossible, period. But thanks to the Slayer variant clause, I made the executive decision to categorize the Ice Queen as a variant of the Ice Warrior that was only killable during an Ice Warrior task. Thus, when I rolled the task, I went ahead and did that and got the gloves. However, using the gloves is a whole different story. You see, they aren't just quest items, they are used in so many places, and therefore there is still a chance that we can still find a mention for the gloves. So this is a no-no. Speaking of no-nos, it was at this time that Quirky Rose 3868 let me know that the Zamorak monk robes, the ones we used for the Underground Pass quest, were also not a quest item. I didn't know that. It's not like I can just wiki that stuff to double check. You think that a guaranteed drop from a cultist outside of the door that requires those exact items in order to pass would be a quest item, but no! So thank you for pointing that out, and the robes have now been placed in the no-no tab until further notice. So then, what's the game plan for the ice gloves? There's only one thing I can think of for sure that would mention the ice gloves, and that thing is something that we can use on the ice gloves. It's time to visit some sleeping giants. Kovac the Giant has a remarkable ability of common tongue speech, and has no interest in fighting us. Rather, he wants us to follow him into his cave. That isn't suspicious at all, but I've done it with an ogre, so I'm game. Inside is a rather run-down yet still somehow impressive workshop, complete with a waterfall, lava, a bank, and then a bunch of things Lorebound doesn't know of. Kovac tells us that giants were once far smarter than they are now, that they built things, and he wants to make things as well. He asks us to help him fixing up the various tools around the area so he can rekindle his ancestors' forge. We talk to him about each item: the polishing wheel, the grinding stone, and the trip hammer, for polishing, grinding, and flattening swords into their proper shapes. We do require a few items to get it up and running, but besides a quick trip to Lumbridge for some wool, we had all of the items both unlocked and in stock, so we end up fixing them. Of course, now that they're repaired, Kovac wants us to use the tools to, well, make a sword. He walks us through the process of sword making. First, we ask him for a commission. Then we fill the crucible with bars or other weapons and armor that have a bar value of 2 or more, with each item when melted back down giving 1 less bar than was initially used to make the item. Okay, crucible full. Now what? Adjust the molds found in the mold jig and make a flat broadsword. Okay, all adjusted. Then we need to pour metal from the crucible into the mold, take it out of the preform, and then work the sword. But it's too hot to take. I sure wish I could use those ice gloves right about now. Fortunately, Kovac tells us to pour water on it, thankfully keeping us from soft blocking here. Now handling this huge flaming sword, we talk to Kovac again, who tells us it's about time we start the fun part. We need to use the tools around the refinery to finish the sword. Kovac says, trip hammer first. And then the game actually takes over to clarify, as it describes the display screen. When we see the hammer, use the trip hammer. When you see the grindstone, you get it, you aren't kids. It actually explains the mechanics very well, including heating and cooling, and also explains low quality or reduced quality swords if the heat is wrong when making it. Bashy, bashy, grindy, grindy. A little bit of cooling, polishing, heating, polishing. Okay, done. Cool. He likes our work. This is definitely a sword. Okay, he's giving the blade to Obor. Nice. If that wasn't unlocked, this would actually be a really cool way of doing so. Quest complete, level up. Awkwardly triggering the sounds at the same time. Why did I have to do this quest? It's a bit out of the blue, yes, but it also contains the only known solution that I have. You see, in the rewards tab for the Giants Foundry minigame, which Sleeping Giants, the quest we just did, acts as a tutorial for, you get reward points. And one of the more expensive rewards you can get is known as the Smith's Gloves. Now normally this is a minimal bonus not gone out of the way for, with a 20% chance of increasing the speed of a smithing action at an anvil, stacking with all the other set items. But it has a nifty little second ability, the ability to merge with the ice gloves. And while this is a shop and does not count for dialogue unlocks, otherwise we'd be done, my plan is to grind out those 3,500 points for the Smith's Gloves, which are a collection log item and will unlock upon getting them, use them on the ice gloves, and then use those gloves, the Smith's Gloves, to grab the feather. I have a few bars, surely that'll be enough to get 3,500 points. It was nowhere near enough to get 3,500 points. We have quite the imbalance of bars and unsmelted items. Maybe if I top them off a little bit, I'll have a... Nope. Still need way more bars. And so Lorebound mined. And he mined. And he mined. And he took a break during the sailing stress test, yeeting laps around this rock. And then he mined. And then he realized that most of this mining could be drastically mitigated if he just, did a little something on the side. The Giant Dwarf quest introduces us to the city of Keldegrim, and we just hitched a ride on a paddleboard driven by an imbecile. I know how you feel, buddy. I know how you feel. We are arrested on arrival and taken to Commander Veldeban, who really doesn't seem too concerned about it. He merely asks us to help the sculptor design a new statue, and as that is well worth renovating anyways. Sure thing, bud. I'll just, The blast furnace was obviously our true goal, ha ha ha. And upon talking to Pumpy, he gives us a rundown of the event. Put ore on the conveyor belt. They operate and stoke everything. We put money in the coffer. This detour alone is saving us over 400 coal, which doesn't sound like too much, but considering this detour only took like 10 minutes, I think starting that quest is well worth that detour. Okay, surely I have enough bars now. Well, that took 3 hours, but I just eked by the point requirement there. Smith's gloves acquired. Sure enough, using the Smith's gloves on the unknown item does actually bring up the name into the chat box. Combine Smith gloves with ice gloves? Sure will, bud. With the imbued Smith gloves equipped, or the icy Smith gloves, I don't know what that I stands for, we bash a firebird with our fists and net us 1 out of 3 items required for the hero's quest. Feather acquired. Jarrett the fisherman in Port Sarim is our lead on item number 2, the cooked lava eel, telling us that we just need to cover a rod in blamish oil to prevent it from burning. Using Harlander in water and the blamish slime, we can get ourselves some blamish oil to treat our rod. I cannot believe ourselves. We used every single Harlander on energy potions. Basilisks. They have a Harlander drop, and that took a while, but considering our luck at the deranged archaeologist, I am not surprised. Harlander mixed with blamish slime, we get our oil, use the rod, and we have our oily rod. One quick run to Taverley, and a very snazzy use of an agility shortcut, and we bait ourselves some lava eels. A few of them. We don't want them to burn. They were in lava though. Can lava eels even burn? Lastly, but not leastly, is the Master Thieves armband. This little trinket is only possible with the aid of a second player, so back into the group chat we go. Heading into the basement of the Phoenix Gang hideout, we talk to Straven. We ask him about the rank, and also ask him if there's a way of getting this that won't take multiple years. So he suggests we steal some candlesticks from Scarface Pete on Karamja. With high security and a valuable target, it may be enough for us to push up to the rank. He tells me to talk to Alphonse, the waiter, in the Shrimp and Parrot Inn, and to use the secret code word, Gherkin. En route, we bump into Lexa 10, who is our Black Arm Gang counterpart to this quest. She hands over a key. We talk to Alphonse, use the keyword, and he directs us round the back to talk to the cook for some gherkins. Using the gherkin code word, we learn about a backdoor hatch that leads to a side entrance into Pete's mansion. We pass through the secret door, enter his house, and make our way into this little secret room. The key Lexa gave us unlocks this specific room. But what do we do here? Well, we wait. You see, our job here is to kill Grip, someone Lexa is unable to kill, but from our vantage point we can, thus the bow. Thankfully, Grip falls under our definition of quest-specific enemy, which is a required exception into the Lorebound playbook, else the series would have died at about episode 2. Grip drops his keyring, which Lexa picks up and uses it to loot a chest, all the while we make our daring escape back through to the tavern. Thank you for the candlestick, Lexa. Pleasure doing business with you. Returning the candlestick to Straven, we catch him in a good mood, and he gives us the promotion and therefore the Master Thieves armband. All 3 items in hand, we make the trudge back to the Heroes Guild. Sure wish we had some teleports in this general area. Akietes has a little fun on our behalf, and then welcomes us into the Heroes Guild. Quest complete. One more quest off the Legends quest requirement book, and also 1 potential upgrade for Lorebound. So long as Helimo says anything about their dragon weaponry stock, and they do not. Well, at least I have access to these uninteractable chairs on the roof, and some bats in the basement. I wonder if, oh, of course we need the Falador Diary stuff for that agility shortcut. Totally makes sense to me. Thank you so much for watching today's content section of today's episode. We are so close to cleaning up Recipe for Disaster, our first, but definitely not last goal in the series. And what do I mean by content section? Well, there are only 2 quests that sit between us and our goal, and one of them, unfortunately, happens to be impossible for us to complete. There were 2 hurdles pre-creation of Lorebound that I knew existed. The Ice Queen was one of them, and we were able to find some sort of an exception using Ice Warriors there. I also think we need to find a creative alternative to unlocking the specific problem that we currently have. So let's nerd out for a moment. And also, again, this is all pre-Lorebound information, so keep in mind at this point, I had access to wikis. I researched the ever-loving bananas out of any way we could circumnavigate the blast issue. During Family Crest, we need to kill Coronazon. In order to defeat him, we need to use all 4 blast spells. We have Air and Water Blast thanks to the Witch's Apprentice in Al Kharid, but Earth Blast and Fire Blast are another story entirely. Fire Blast, technically, is mentioned once, and I have every intention of following this extremely ultra-convoluted method to unlock the Fire Blast spell legitimately. However, Earth Blast is not. Earth Bolt is mentioned in a quest, so what we need to do is decide via a poll what we're going to be required to do in order to tap into our arcane knowledge and cast a spell we have no earthly way of knowing about. Now, during the quest, Jonathan is going to end up mentioning that I need to hit Coronazon once with each of the 4 elemental spells of death. With that context, what will allow us to rip open the arcane and for one hit, allow us to use the Earth Blast spell. These are ordered in what I believe is the probability of getting these done in a reasonable amount of time. So choose wisely in the polls this week, as it could very well define our adventure for 1 episode or for 20. 1. Unlock Earth Bolt. It is said in this specific quest line, I'm not gonna spoil it so far, but it's possible to get Earth Bolt. Getting Earth Bolt, Earth Wave, makes sense. Maybe I can use Earth Blast once. 2. Unlock a Staff of Earth or a Mystic or Battle Staff variant. It makes sense that I might have a slightly powered up surge of magic if I'm more attuned to Earth. However, I have no likely way of getting these besides maybe a clue scroll mention, and I'm not sure how common it is for an Earth Battle Staff to be used for certain things, so it is a bit of a gamble there. 3. Acquire the Tome of Earth. Obviously, this is quite a lot more demanding on us. It will require a lot of grinding, but it might be fun and might make the most sense. Lastly, because this is the only thing I could think of that might be worse than the Tome of Earth, is defeat an Earth Warrior champion. That means unlocking Earth Warriors through Slayer, and then farming approximately 5,000 of them for an Earth Warrior champion scroll, then beating the Earth Warrior champion. That would not be fun, but it is up to you to choose. Which of these 4 options do you think makes the most sense for bending this rule for 1 hit? Now, if Family Crest, option 1 of this episode's second directional poll, is not chosen as our focus, we only have one other option, Shiloh Village. But we still also do have some skill requirements that are not up to the needed Legends quest requirements, namely 50 Thieving and 45 Herblore, which is our other 2 options this week. If you choose Herblore or Thieving, also leave a comment in the polls suggesting what Thieving or Herblore training methods we should take, and we'll do our best to unlock those if they aren't unlocked already. A very special thank you, as always, goes to our channel members, Harry Enjoys Ducks, Ahumaya, Rivacious, and Nantuko Avatar. And as an added new bonus, shout out to Blue for brainstorming this little one up. Also, go watch his AI Cape series. The season finale was a banger. I am going to immortalize any and all channel members, be it only for 1 month or 100 years of membership, low or high alchemy tiers, with their very own named and labeled in-game square, to be visible on Lorebound and all future series for time and beyond, like Chunk Mist. Okay, bye!